Okay, good morning, Chavra. Today is Wednesday, the 18th day of Nisan. We continue in chapter 41, Perek Mem Aleph in the Tanya, on page 91 of the Chayenu. And yesterday we gave you a meditation to think about Hashem, to think in terms of Yiras Hashem. And oh, wow, David did all this for me to be able to perform a mitzvah. Today, we learn another meditation. God's will find expression through my mitzvah performance. When I do this mitzvah, Hashem's going to express His will. Submission to Hashem in awe complements one's love. We would always think, let's do Aseh Tov. Let's do Aseh Tov. Forget about Surmeirah. That's the negative side. Let's do Aseh Tov. No, when we do Surmeirah, it's going to complement the Aseh Tov. So when we do Yiras Hashem, it's going to complement the love of Hashem. Okay, so now the Alter Rebbe is going to give us another form of meditation. Ooh, it's long today. Plus, it's going to be lonely. Okay, we got some Chavra online, so I'm good. Person should think how the light of Hashem, the light that encompasses the world and the light that permeates all the worlds, is identical with Hashem's higher will. So previous chapters have stated that God's will is the source of the life force that animates all the worlds, both our world that we know of and the transcendent worlds, the spiritual worlds above. It's okay, Hashem is always with me and my Chevra online. Is clothed in the letters and wisdom of the Torah. Accordingly, before a person commences his Torah study, he should ponder on how the Ein Sof, the light of Hashem, is vested in the letters and wisdom of the Torah that he's about to study. Think about it. These words which you're about to say and read have God in them, have godliness and light and godly light in them. Or if he meditates before he puts on the tzitzis or the talis or the tefillin, through his recitation, or by wearing them, or I'm just going to throw in the example of eating matzah. Well, eat something. How holy could it be? It's flour, water. It's put together. We say Asher Kiddishanu B'Mitzvah Ala Chilas Matzah, and then we eat it. It's unbelievable. He brings godly light unto himself. Where does he draw down the godly light? Over the part of God above, which is his soul, which abides in his body and animates it. This he does with the intent that it might be absorbed and nullified in his blessed light. So his neshama and the godly light fused together as one. So the individual's intent is that the aforementioned study, when we're about to learn or do a mitzvah, should have an effect on his soul. In particular, as will soon be explained, intellectual and emotional faculties of the soul are affected by the tefillin. Specifically through tefillin, you should intend that the attribute of wisdom and understanding, which are in his divine soul, should be nullified and absorbed into the attributes of wisdom and understanding of Hashem. That they are enclosed in particular in the passages of Kadesh and V'haya Kivyacha. In these passages, both of which are found in the Tefillin, Hashem's wisdom, the Chachma, and understanding Bina are enclosed. Wisdom in the former and understanding in the latter. So by putting on Tefillin, the individual's wisdom and understanding are absorbed into Hashem's. So how does this find expression? Dahainu, sheloi lishtamish b'chachmasei v'nosei b'nafshei bilti l'Hashem levadei. That's to say that he should use the wisdom and understanding that are in his soul for Hashem alone. The wisdom and understanding in his neshama should be used in pursuit of Torah and mitzvahs for understanding godliness. Similarly, a person should intend that the attribute of das, the third of the three components of intellect, remember we have Chochmah and Bina, so das in his soul, which includes both the chesed, kindness, and gevurah, severity, meaning fear and love, in his heart. So the attribute of das comprises kindness and severity insofar as these attributes exist on an intellectual level. Moreover, as is explained at the end of chapter 3, the profound and involved meditation that categorizes the level of das actually creates love and fear insofar as they exist independently on an emotional level. So this faculty of das should then be nullified bebechinas das ha'elyon koilo chesed gevura ha'melubash beparshas shma v'haya im shmaya. Should be nullified and absorbed into the attribute of the higher knowledge, das ha'elyon, which comprises kindness and severity, and which is clothed in the passage of Shema and v'haya im shmaya. V'hainu, k'meshekasu b'shulchan aruch, Shabbat halev avahamayach v'cholu. This accords with the statement of the Shulchan Aruch that while putting on tefillin, one should intend to make one's heart and mind subservient to God. In this way, the neshama, the divine soul as a whole, and its intellective and emotive faculties in particular, are affected by when we wear tefillin. V'atifas tzitzis. So that's as far as tefillin is concerned. When we put on tefillin, tzitzis on the other hand, we should bear in mind what it says in Kabbalah, in Zohar, namely, that he should draw down upon himself Hashem's blessed kingdom, the yoke of heaven, which is the kingdom of all the worlds. A person should attend and focus that Hashem's kingdom specifically comes over ourselves through this mitzvah. For the commandment of tzitzis is particularly effective in enhancing one's acceptance of the yoke of heaven. Why? Because the tzitzis represent the 613 mitzvahs. And also we get completely wrapped up in it when we put on the talis, shows that Hashem is completely blanketing us, so to speak. This is similar to the commandment that you should surely set a king over yourself. This is a commandment in the Torah, in Dvarim 17. When do we appoint God as our king? We anoint God as our king on Rosh Hashanah, but every single day we reestablish that God is king over us. In such a case, meaning having contemplating this matter, then even though after all this meditation, no dread or fear enters a person's heart, yeah, we thought about these things that God is king over us, but we're not completely blown away. Nevertheless, since he accepts the kingdom of heaven upon himself, and he draws upon himself the fear of Hashem in his conscious thought and rational volition, this submission to Hashem is sincere. It's the nature of a Jew not to rebel against Hashem. So maybe we're not perfect. Maybe we're not following every law we say. If you really fear heaven, you wouldn't do this. You wouldn't miss that. You would be, you would act on the level of a tzaddik. So we say no, we don't say no, but we say as long as a person accepts upon himself the yoke of heaven. And of course, naturally, a Yid never wants to sin because he always wants to be close to Hashem. So then, the Torah that he studies, or the commandment that he performs, because of his submission to Hashem, and because of the fear that he has drawn into his mind, are termed, at this point, complete service. Avodah Shlema. of the kind that can result only from fear of Hashem. Now the Alter Rebbe goes on to say, "Shekol avodas eved la'adonai u'malkoi." All the service performed by a servant for his master or king, which of course was prompted by awe and fear. Think about it. Even a servant is human. Sometimes he might have a weak moment, but he's still going to do his job. He might think certain thoughts in his head. What do I have to do today? I'm so tired. Maybe I want to sleep. No, he gets up and he does it. All this can be accomplished by arousing, even if only in his mind, at least a minimal level of fear, and utilizing it to the study of Torah and the performance of mitzvahs. If a person just studies and does mitzvahs with love alone in order to cleave to Hashem, a person is not on the level of a servant of Hashem if he doesn't also incorporate yiras Hashem, fear and awe. The Torah has declared, you shall serve vavadetem, the Lord Hashem. This verb uses the noun eved, servant, and it signifies service motivated by fear and awe of Hashem. And likewise, the pasuk says, "Him shall you serve." Ta'avodu. These psukim are from Shmos and Dvarim. Shmos 23 and Dvarim 13. K'moshe kaso b'Zohar, like it says in Parshas Bahar Zohar, Kahai Torah diyavin el alei oil bekad mesa digin la paka mine tavla olma achinami itzlich lavarnash lekabala alei oil malchus shemayim bekad mesa chulu ihai la ishtach ishtachach kabei lo sharia be kedusha. The Zohar says, this is the quote from the Zohar, just like the ox on which one first places a yoke in order to make him useful, so too must the human first submit to the yoke of heaven and only then engage in divine service. So we take an ox, we don't just feed it and we're nice to it and we give it a bath and we give it food and everything else. First thing is that we put a yoke on it. We constrain it and we dictate, this is what you're going to do. And then once it starts plowing the field, then we're nice to it and we feed it and everything else. So too, first a person has to submit to the yoke of heaven. Complete submission. And then we could work on the Avas Hashem after that. But in the Rai Mahemna, in the Zohar over there, it's written that Shekol Adam Sarich Liyos B'Shtei B'chinas U'Madregas. Every man must, in his divine service, belong to the two categories and two levels. And what are these two levels? B'chinas Eved, B'chinas Bein. They have to belong to the category of servant, slave, and also that of a son who serves his father out of love. So, but talks about Eved first. First, you have to be a slave. You have to accept the yoke of heaven. And then you have to serve Hashem out of love like a son to a father. After Yesh, Bein, Shehu, Gamkein, Eved, and although one might find the son who is also a servant, he is so subservient to his father, he stands before him and trembles. It's impossible to attain to this degree without the prerequisite of a higher level of fear and awe known as Yirei La. And Yirei La is known to those, it's known to those who know. If you know, you know. It's a higher level of fear, and that's after much dedication to the first level of fear, which is the basic level which we just explained. You have to accept the yoke of heaven, that Hashem is our master, Hashem is our king, and we have to do whatever he asks of us. So contemplation, the takeaway for today is contemplation that will arouse fear of Hashem before fulfilling the commandment of putting on tzitzis or tefillin. Hashem's infinite light and inner will is expressed in and through this mitzvah. When I put this on, I'm bringing Hashem directly into my life. So that's what we do, Chevra, now. Go get a coin and put it in the pushka and say to Hashem, I am subservient to you. Whatever you ask me to do, that's what I'll do. And then we start serving Hashem later on out of love like a child to a parent. Have a wonderful Moed, have a good day, and everyone please join us on Sunday, April 20th, which is the last and final meal of Pesach at 6:30 p.m. for Mashiach Suda. We'll see you all there. A good Moed.